The top cop who put his badge on the line for justice.
You know the name Doug Poppa?
Yes, I do. God bless Doug Poppa, an honest cop.
He was a man of integrity. His testimony last summer freed an innocent man from jail who had already been convicted of shooting his ex-wife. But Poppa's going public cost him his job as an undercover cop.
I was elated, of course, but then as he testified, I was somewhat concerned for him, because I knew that they were probably going to crucify that man.
Sometimes the truth has a price. That may be the lesson of a Virginia police officer who says, in trying to do the right thing, he ended up paying for it.
The message you're sending is, see, we did it, Doug. You don't come out, you don't buck the system. No matter what the reason is, you just can basically keep your mouth shut. But if I wouldn't do it all over again, I would take the badge and I would leave it on somebody's desk and get out of police work. Because the day I can tell the truth because somebody's pressuring me, and the day the system doesn't want me to tell the truth because somebody's pressuring me, is the day I'd leave the badge on the desk and walk away.
Poppa was fired for insubordination. One man who confronted truth and consequences.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Truth and Consequences podcast from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is episode 124 from Monday, October 18th, 2022. As you all know, I'm an independent investigative journalist. This is my forum for my work, my news, my commentary, and my opinion. If I didn't already say it, my name is Doug Poppa. You all know that. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I'm a former law enforcement officer and hotel casino director of security and surveillance. Spent a short time with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And earlier in my life, there was a couple other things in there that are not worth mentioning. A lot of security work at a high school and different things like that. Listen, I'm going to play a short video clip. It's from KLAS TV, 8 News Now out here in Las Vegas, and it concerns the arrest the other day, I'll get more into that in a second, of Michael Zahara. That's Zahara. And I'll explain a little bit more about this guy because I had run-ins with him a couple of years ago. So listen to this little thing. It's only about 1 minute long.
Police say a man made a terror threat against an LGBTQ community event. According to authorities, 61-year-old Michael Zahara sent a text to human rights campaign members attending the event that he was planning to, quote, shoot up the event. An employee reported the incident to police, and when police tried contacting him, he hung up on them. Well, he's facing charges of falsely communicating an act of terrorism.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's like I said earlier, I had some run-ins with this guy a couple of years ago, and I'll get into that in a second. This is going to be a pretty short podcast. This guy was arrested and charged for basically terroristic threats, and I'll get to the exact Nevada Revised Statute quote here in a second. We get he was arrested on October 15th, and this is the Clark County Detention Center record. Let me get off the screen there for a minute. And it's an in-custody record. And as you can see on the screen, for the audio podcast people, I'll read some things in here because you can't see the screen. Arrested on October 15, 2022. The charge was make threats / false information reference act of terrorism / WMD. A preliminary hearing set for 11/1 of 2022. It was a cash bail at the time of $20,000. And right now I'm going to go to the Las Vegas Justice Court record. You can follow me on the screen here. Okay, I don't think I have to take me off here. I'm going to take off that banner there for a second. Well, I'll just leave it up and I'll just read it. This is the Las Vegas Justice Court record. It shows the arrest, case assignment on October 15th. DA request for prosecution, October 15, 2022. Matter heard, initial appearance, Justice Court, Judge Amy Ferreira, October 16th. Probable cause found, October 16th. I'll go down here a little. I don't have to read the whole thing. October 16th, it said bail stands, cash or surety, $20,000. Go down a little further. Criminal complaint filed October 17th. October 18th, which is today, initial appearance in front of Judge Holly, I think it's Holly S. Stobersky, and it says in custody, result matter heard. Defendant advised of charges on complaint, on criminal complaint, waives reading of criminal complaint. Defendant identified as indigent, which means he has no money. Defendant and the court discussed the appointment of counsel, and defendant requested appointment of counsel. Public defender appointed today, October 18th. October 18th, it says bail argument made. The state argues for $20,000 bail and high-level electronic monitoring. Defense argues for OR, which is own recognizance release. We go down a little further. Monetary bail set today. It says the state has provided clear and convincing evidence that no less restrictive alternative to monetary bail will satisfy its interest in ensuring the defendant's presence and community safety. Then the bail was reset today from $20,000 to $3,000 cash or surety. And it says release order, bail, and electronic monitoring, medium level. Also, it says 10/18/2022, bail conditions, stay away from 401 South Maryland Parkway here in Las Vegas. And I believe that's the headquarters of the LBQ, the gay organization out here. He has to stay away from that. Release order, bail and electronic monitoring, I already said that. No weapons in possession, that's one of the bail conditions. Preliminary hearing set for November 1st, 2022. Now, as of tonight, and I don't know if they updated the records, but I just checked before I went on air here, it looks like he's still incarcerated in the Clark County Detention Center, so maybe he couldn't make the bail, or they just didn't update their records from this afternoon. So that's what we got going on over there. You heard what the lady said from KLAS TV, 8 News Now. I'm going to read some of the allegations against him. Like she said, is accused of threatening to shoot up an LGBTQ plus a community event, and by sending a text to that organization. Those are the allegations. Let me go down over here. It says this was according to the arrest report. Zahara admitted to texting, quote, planning to shoot up Nazi HRC event, which is the Human Rights Campaign event, according to the arrest report. It says police later confirmed that Zahara was subscribed to the phone number that he made the text from, which had also been corroborated with prior suspicious activity reports. So there were other reports relating to the text number that he sent from the phone. It says one of the suspicious activity reports made on December 27th last year was from an RTC representative who said Zahara called and threatened that he would, quote, shoot up the place because his appointment was not soon enough, according to the arrest report. The representative said Zahara sounded intoxicated and reverted to insults before hanging up. The second suspicious activity report was made on July 1st this year, when Zahara allegedly was told that he would have to pay for a paratransit trip. And the RTC is, I believe, is the Regional Transportation Commission out here. So he'd have to pay for a paratransit trip he scheduled with the Mobility Training Center. Zahara said it was stupid and discriminatory, and he would, quote, wondered why you guys don't get shot up more, hoping someone shoots you up, according to the arrest report. It says officers found and arrested Zahara on October 15th near Lake Mead Boulevard and Buffalo Drive over here. According to the report, Zahara said he responded to the text message that he was getting from the Human Rights Commission saying that he would, quote, stop by with his piece, meaning a weapon. But he thought that he was only responding to a bot, not a real person. He's charged with falsely communicating an act of terrorism, like we said. Now, when I heard this today, And I didn't break the story. This KLAS TV 8 News Now broke this story. Doesn't matter who breaks it. They broke it, okay? But I heard about it, and it didn't surprise me. And I'm going to tell you a why here in a few minutes. He's charged with violation of 202-448, and I had to look that up because I wasn't completely versed in memory with this. When I was in the casino business, we used a lot of the NRS statutes, but I wasn't familiar with this one. So let me get up on the screen here so you people can read it while I'm reading it also. Okay. Audio podcast people, we were referring to Nevada Revised Statute, which is the criminal code for Nevada, 202.448. And I'm just going to read the parts that I believe is pertinent to the allegations against Michael Zahara. It says, making threats or conveying false information concerning acts of terrorism, weapons of mass destruction, lethal agents, or toxins, prohibited penalty. And then we'll go down to number 1 there. And it says, a person shall not, through the use of any means of oral, written, or electronic communication, knowingly make any threat or convey any false information concerning an act of terrorism. And we go down to subsection A. It says, injure, intimidate, or alarm any person, whether or not any person is actually injured, intimidated, or alarmed thereby. And B, cause panic or civil unrest, whether or not such panic or civil unrest actually occurs. So the charge here, the way I'm reading it, and I'm not an attorney, is that if you, and they're saying the allegations against him that he relayed those threatening text messages, that people don't even have to feel intimidated. It's just the mere fact that you sent them. Injure, intimidate, or alarm any person, whether or not any person is actually injured, intimidated, or alarmed thereby. So this is a pretty stiff statute here. And then on the bottom it says, a person who violates any provision of subsection 1 is guilty of a Category B felony and shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for a minimum term of not less than 2 years and a maximum term of not more than 20 years. And he may be further punished by a fine of not more than $5,000. Now, I said it didn't surprise me when I heard this, when I had familiarity and some interaction with Mr. Zahara a couple of years ago. I'll put this up on the screen here. This is episode 6 that I published on July 17th, 2020. It's just a screenshot of my podcast. Now, get all that done over here. Get that off the screen. Back over here. And get this off the screen there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I've done a lot of stories for the Baltimore Post-Examiner on a whole bunch of subjects. Now former Judge Melanie Andrus Tobiasen, where a lot of the interactions came in with Mrs. Zahara because of those stories I was writing. And in 2020, Michael Zahara, on his now defunct blog, he had a blog for years called Watchdog Wag, and it was filmed with racist, accusatory remarks, demeaning, gays, all kinds of BS that was on there for years. And he would just attack people, just put their names on there, police officers, judges, politicians, from what I saw, with no basis in fact, and just start slamming them and slandering them and stuff like that. He got away with it for years. I don't know. Everybody said he should have been sued 1,000 times over, but he wasn't. Anyway, that blog, Watchdog Wag, shut down after I published episode 6 in July of 2020. He shut it down. But what happened was, in that episode 6, and this is going to be a short podcast because my throat's killing me with these allergies, you'll see excerpts from episode 6 after I stop talking, and then it'll be the end of the podcast. And I'll put the link in to the full episode of episode 6. It's an hour and a half long because it not only goes into Zahara, but it talks about I was getting attacked by unknown people out here in Las Vegas, calling me everything from, wife beater, disgraced cop, basically POS, you name it, everything. They slandered everything. It's all explained in that podcast link that you'll see in there. But part of it in there concerns Mr. Zahara. Anyway, getting back to this guy. And on his blog in 2020, Michael Zahara advocated for the murder of a federal judge nominee. Her name was Jennifer Tagliati. She was a retired judicial district court judge, 8th Judicial District Court judge from out here in Las Vegas. And she was going to be nominated by former President Trump for the position of a federal judge. He advocated on that website, that Watchdog Wag blog that he had, for her murder. And he also advocated for the death of Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Now, the title of my podcast on episode 6, you remember from the screen over there, I don't know if you saw it because the banner may have been blocking it out, but the link will be in the description section of this my video here, so you can watch the whole thing if you want. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. The title of the video, my podcast at the time in episode 6, was titled Michael Zahara, One Hopes That When Judge Jennifer Tagliati is Deservedly Brutally Murdered. That was the title of that podcast. And like I said, when I published that podcast, when I'm back to look at his site, it was shut down, and it never reactivated again after July of 2020. But he did publish, he's got another website called michaelzahara.com. Pretty much a lot of the same stuff that he was doing on the old website. It's on there if you want to watch it, if you want to look at it. It's basically, to me, just garbage. But anyway, he started attacking me back in 2020 because I was writing stories about now former Judge Melanie Andrus Tobias, which I guess he was, supported and was close to. Well, he did support her because he was actually giving her some advice, and you'll see it here. So he started attacking me. I'm going to tell you something, okay? There's another retired Metro cop who was fired for lying, and I mentioned something in the other podcast, and I got a whole podcast coming out on him. And I tell you something, people, if you got something to say about me and my background, my history, because my life has been on social media for 30, 40 years, just about all of it published and put out there by me. So people take things and they twist it around to ruin your reputation. And it's just, to me, it's just a bunch of bullshit, okay? So I tell everybody all the time, and I don't care if it's the Metropolitan Police Department out here or anybody else that I talk about. If you want to come on this podcast and man to man discuss things like a human being without going into the gutter and degrading people, then go ahead and do it. I got no problem with it. I got no problem debating people and talking about my life. Just like this idiot retired cop, well, not retired, he's not retired, he was fired from the LVMPD, and I'll be mentioning his name in an upcoming podcast. They come out and they got to degrade your Army service, and I talked about it in the podcast the other day. I'm not gonna rehash it. But this is episode 124. Episode 125, my next podcast, I'll be breaking another exclusive investigation that I've had for a couple of years, and got new information on it, so I'll be breaking that. And it's never been out in the local Las Vegas media, and that'll be 125. And then after that, I'll be talking about this buffoon that's retired. I keep saying retired. The guy's not freaking retired. Get your act together. He was fired from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department years ago for lying, for integrity issue, for being not truthful, okay? And like I said, you want to attack me? Go right ahead. But I will delve into your background and throw it right back in your face. So if anybody you want to go on my background, fine. My whole history, my life, I've talked about it on radio shows, I've talked about it on TV shows, on podcasts, interviews with news people, going all the way back till I lost my job on the police department. I was vetted by all the news agencies, CBS, all these people that did stories on me back then. People got to take stuff out of context and twist it around to make it look like you're a piece of crap, okay? The only thing I have left in my life, people, I'll be 68 here in 2 months, is my character and my integrity and what I did in my life. So if you're going to attack me, my Army service, my police service. I lost my job because I told the truth. That is why I lost my job, okay? Because of corrupt sheriff's office officials and a prosecutor, the prosecutor, the Commonwealth attorney, back in 1992. So if you're going to attack me with lies and twist things around, you better make sure there's nothing in your background, because I spent years doing backgrounds in the private industry, and I know how to do them, and I did them very well. And that's why I'm pretty good, I believe, right now that I do with these podcasts and when I wrote the stories for the Baltimore Post-Examiner. Anyway, enough of the rant. Remember, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe to it. It's free. Just hit the red subscribe button. If you want to support my work, like I said, I work independent. I don't, have an income from what I do here. It's paypal.me /Doug Poppa. You'll see it at the end on the outro. If you want to contact me, okay, Truth and Consequences WDP @gmail.com. That is also on the outro. Anybody that I wrote stories on or I talk about, I know Metro cops on the I talk about a lot of things that went on with Metro, with current police officers and supervisors, and I know they're not allowed to talk to journalists. They get in trouble unless they get permission, and Lobato's not going to give them permission. But you want to reach me, you want to come on the podcast, you want to debate, we debate. We have a debate. Your opinion is just as valued as my opinion. And that's the way this thing started the other day with this buffoon U.S. Marine Corps Reserve vet slamming another vet's branch of service because I put out the video about the coward cop Hendricks, who failed to act the night of the worst mass shooting in modern American history. He's a coward. I'm not the only one that said that. Police officials, retired cops called him a coward, okay? He didn't do anything. He stood there while people were being killed and didn't do a damn thing, didn't even attempt to do anything, okay? If he had attempted to do something, then I would say, okay, he attempted, he tried to do something, he couldn't do it, but he didn't do anything. He stood by while cops were getting shot, people were getting shot, people were dying, and didn't do nothing. So when I posted that video, like I said in the other podcast, I think it was 121 when I was talking about it, this other retired cop from Metro, has got to come on linked. Fine. He says, what would you have done? And I said, I would have attempted to do something. And then right away, this other idiot chimes in, and he starts attacking me. You're a would have been, could have been, should have been. Oh, I see you were in the Army. I'm taking out context. You'll see the exact thing you said. I got the screenshots. Oh, Army. Anyway, if I got no problem with people commenting on anything that I do. Okay, when they start going into the gutter, okay, they're going to get attacked by me because that's just the way it is. It's the way I grew up in New York City. I don't take bullshit from anybody. I spent my entire life not following the wrong people, doing the right thing. And now at my age, I don't give a damn whether people like me or don't like me. But you're not going to attack me, my military service, my police service, because I lost a 12-year police career for doing the right thing. And it ruined my life after that. I can never get back on a police department. So if you want to have the balls to come on the podcast and talk, then you know how to reach me. If you don't, then you can go to hell. But do not attack me and think that I'm not going to come back with both barrels and give it to you, because that's what I do on this podcast. And I'm not figuratively talking both barrels because I'm going to make the complaint. I'm just saying, you attack me, I'm going to come back double. And I will delve into your background to find out the truth about you, okay? As I did with this guy, and that'll be coming out on a podcast. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm going to play this thing. It's about 13 minutes long. It gives some insight to what I'm talking about with Mr. Zahara. And then you could watch the whole hour and a half because it goes into a lot. This thing was pretty involved. But you got a 13-minute clip of Mrs. Zahara. And we'll see you on the next episode. Like I said, the next episode is let me get this thing going over here. Where is it? Episode, Truth and Consequences, July 6th. Justice Court Judge. Okay. You know what? It's not in here. Why isn't it here? Okay, hang on one second. Didn't come up on the, it's not on the input. figure out why. I don't know why I did that, but okay, I'll have to add it in here. Just give me 1 second. Bear with me. Here, the software is pretty complicated. Okay, I think it just popped up and should get on the screen now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, watch this short video clip, and I'll see you on episode 125, and that'll be another exclusive story, breaking news from Las Vegas, from the Truth and Consequences podcast. And I'm your host, Doug Poppa. We'll see you on the next one. This clip is only about 13 minutes long. Go ahead and watch it. You'll see the link in the podcast to the full episode 6. And again, thanks for listening. Thanks for all the good comments that I've been getting in my emails and stuff. I appreciate it. Las Vegas blogger Michael Zahara, who has ties to embattled Las Vegas Justice Court Judge Melanie Andres Tobiasen, has advocated for the brutal murder of federal district court judge nominee Jennifer Tagliati. Tagliati was nominated by President Trump in October of last year for a position on the federal court for the District of Nevada. In a May 16, 2020 Facebook post, Zahara stated, quote, "One hopes that when Judge Jennifer Tagliati is deservedly brutally murdered." Later in the same post, Zahara wrote, "And Jennifer Tagliati is human garbage whose death will be celebrated across Spring Valley one day, and I will be one of the many celebrants." With no basis in fact or any corroborating evidence to support his claim, in true fashion, Zahara also accused Tagliati and Las Vegas attorney Dominic Gentile of splitting the $500,000 cash bond of a defendant in a case Tagliati had presided over and whom Gentile was representing. Zahara also made the remark concerning Dominic Gentile that the truly innocent never need to engage Gentile. Mrs. Zahara, so according to you, the truly innocent never need to hire Dominic Gentile. Well, here's a news flash for you, Zahara. Judge Tobiasen, who is currently under investigation by the Nevada Commission on Judicial Discipline for alleged violations of the Nevada Judicial Code and alleged involvement in criminal conduct, including purported murder plots, guess who her counsel of record is? You guess it, Zahara, Dominic Gentile. Zahara, so your friend Melanie Tobiasen, who you have admitted to numerous persons that you were providing advice to, has Dominic Gentile retained as her counsel, an attorney you say, quote, "The truly innocent never need to engage." Very interesting. Mike Zahara runs a blog that I will not name here. You can go online and find it, because in my opinion, it should only be looked at if one wants to print out some colorful toilet paper. On his blog and also on his Facebook page, Zahara has consistently defamed the integrity and character of anyone he sees fit. Zahara has been shut down on Facebook numerous times and is banned from Twitter the last time I looked. With the climate of hate, the shootings, attacks on politicians and celebrities being what it is in the country today, for anyone to advocate for the brutal murder of anyone, let alone a federal judge nominee, is troublesome in the least. It's not a joke, and there's no humor in any of that. The way it is today with some people, Zahara included, you just can't disagree with somebody's politics or viewpoints. You have to go all the way to the extreme and call for and/or hope for their murder. On April 27, 2020, Zahara on his blog set his sights on Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak. Zahara not only attacked Governor Sisolak but his entire family. Pointing to a posted picture of Adolf Hitler, Zahara wrote, quote, "Nevada fascist, toxic, progressive governor, Nazi Hitler Sisolak, and his entire family will soon die of Wuhan virus panic, and tens of millions will cheer this very necessary result and outcome." Zahara continues on with some distasteful comments about Sisolak's wife and daughters, which I will not repeat, so refer to the screenshot, and then says they, quote, "will all perish very soon." Zahara goes on, quote, "Sisolak is pure and simple human garbage, and he and his entire family will be missed by no one when they're all finally dead for their cause," unquote. This proves just how disgusting Zahara is as a human being, in my opinion. For anyone to wish for someone else to suffer and die such a horrible death from the coronavirus shows just how despicable one can be. If that wasn't bad enough, what Zahara wrote, he went further into the gutter and had to refer to the Holocaust as follows. Quote, "I've culled my 19,000 emails and have submitted 847 fully deserving of being loaded with their children onto their rail cars and to their concentration camp assignments, unquote. 11 million people lost their lives at the hands of the Nazis. Entire families were wiped off the face of the earth. It's incomprehensible that anyone would wish that onto another person and or even refer to the Holocaust in that context. But that is exactly what Mike Zahara did on April 27th. On May 14, 2020, also on his blog, Zahara posted a picture of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and made the following remarks. Soon to be publicly and deservedly executed, Michigan neo-Nazi Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Thankfully, Governor Whitmer of Michigan will be deservedly executed, becoming a martyr. Her public pronouncements have been dog whistling to our toxic progressive worshippers to come out and brutally assassinate her, and she will never be vice president or see another elective office, unquote. On his Facebook page, Zahara made the following comments concerning the COVID-19 virus. I've already chosen which wife beater, cutoffs, and flip-flops I'm going to wear to Chris Cuomo's funeral. Which Hollywood sports or political celebrity do you pray dies from Wuhan virus today? I'm not afraid to admit I'm very pleased about the high Wuhan virus tolls in sanctuary cities/states. Zahara's comments, in the least, are pretty disgusting. Let's take a closer look at Zahara's past. According to a May 12, 2006 Las Vegas Sun article titled Ugly Side of Sheriff Race Surface, Mike Zahara was the campaign manager at the time for Las Vegas Metro Police Lieutenant Ron Williams, who was running against incumbent Sheriff Bill Young. Young later bowed out, running for a second term, stating he became weary of politics and the toll the job had taken on his family. Young then supported his undersheriff at the time, Doug Gillespie, for sheriff. The article goes on to say that Zahara stated that the campaign believed that embarrassing information that they had obtained against Young was partially responsible for Young's withdrawal from the race. Young denounced what Zahara had said. According to the article, Zahara then acknowledged that the campaign had shifted focus and was now making similar charges against Gillespie, who Young had endorsed for sheriff. Zahara confirmed that the campaign sent an email to Gillespie warning that a, quote, security intel team, unquote, working for the campaign was talking to the FBI about personal and, quote, other gross misconduct, unquote, on Gillespie's part, and intended to make those allegations an issue in the campaign. Quote, we understand you're running for sheriff, unquote, the email said. Quote, please be advised that we have been cooperating with the FBI for months, unquote. The email suggested that Gillespie might want to inform his wife, quote, before we go public with this information, unquote. Asked by the Las Vegas Sun at the time what evidence Williams had to support the personal misconduct allegation, Zahara said the campaign had it from, quote, a solid source, unquote, but that it hadn't been confirmed. Let me interject something here for a minute, my opinion on this. What I see is Zahara's pattern of unconfirmed allegations that to me this story indicates intimidation and threats to achieve a personal goal. Now back to the article. The FBI, in response to an inquiry from the Las Vegas Sun at the time, said it did not give credence to the claims. An FBI Las Vegas field office spokesman said, quote, the FBI is conducting no investigation related to Sheriff Young and or Under Sheriff Gillespie, unquote. Quote, nor has the FBI received any information regarding Young or Gillespie that would cause the FBI concern. The FBI is a nonpartisan law enforcement agency and will not look kindly on allegations filed against anyone without merit, particularly for political reasons, unquote. Zahara said at the time that the email was sent to Gillespie only as a courtesy to his family, and that, quote, there was no threat. We stated what we knew and what we were going to go public with, unquote. The allegations were never made public. Gillespie and Young said the allegations were false. Doug Gillespie won the sheriff's race. 2 years later, Zahara was in the Vegas headlines again, and it wasn't good. According to a July 24, 2008 Las Vegas Review-Journal article that was titled Man Jailed in Extortion Bid Against Candidate, they described Zahara as a campaign consultant and former Democratic Party official who was arrested on charges he tried to extort a former assembly candidate. The article indicated the Las Vegas police arrested Zahara on one count of felony extortion accusing Zahara of trying to shake down Sanjay Sedera, who ran for assemblyman. The police said Zahara threatened to tell people that Sedera committed IRS and mortgage fraud, among other things, unless Sedera paid him $5,250. Zahara wrote a letter that he was prepared to tell Sedera's family, business associates, and church members of his alleged misconduct, and wrote he would ask the IRS to audit him and the FBI to investigate him, according to the police report. Sedera found the letter taped to his front door and then went and reported to the police. Sedera said the allegations were baseless. The following year, 2009, the extortion charges were dropped against Zahara. In a January 20th, 2019 email that Zahara sent to me, he said that after his arrest hit the newspaper, a prominent Las Vegas attorney that he did not identify took him to lunch and told him to write about what he sees and hears, and that this attorney pushed a manila envelope to him, and when he got home and opened the envelope, he found $24,800 in cash inside the envelope, and Zahara said that's how his blog was born. Here's my opinion on that. This unknown prominent attorney could have saved himself $24,800 because Zahara's blog isn't worth the plug nickel. On October 24th, 2019, Zahara wrote the following on his blog, quote, "Thankfully, we can now inform Connie Land that her daughter's murder investigation is officially dead itself and that no one will ever be charged in hers or the other two murders. So get over it and move on, lady," is what the United States Attorney announced this past week. First of all, I've been involved now with Connie Land in the investigation of the Land-Kaufman murders as an investigative journalist for over a year and a half. One thing I could say for sure is that until this case is solved, Connie Land and her family will never get over it, and they will never move on. Zahara, you keep proving just how ignorant of a person you are. With not a care in the least, you make a disgusting comment like that, referring to Connie Land, whose daughter was brutally murdered, and then you have the gall to tell her, quote, "So get over it, lady, and move on." Second, the U.S. Attorney never made any such comment ever referring to the Land-Kaufman murders. And there was only two murders, Zahara, Sidney Land and Nehemiah Kaufman. Remember the May 2006 article that I referred to earlier, referenced the sheriff's race at the time, and Zahara's comment to the newspaper when they asked him what evidence he had to support the personal misconduct allegation? Zahara responded that they had it from a solid source. And then he said, quote, "but that it hadn't been confirmed." Really, that's how Zahara operates. This is the way Zahara has operated over the years when he makes baseless accusations defaming the character and integrity of others. Case in point, in that same October 24th, 2019 blog, Zahara posted a photograph of Clark County Chief Deputy District Attorney Elizabeth Mercer and wrote, quote, "That's former Vegas prostitute turned Deputy District Attorney Liz Mercer," unquote. Then Zahara wrote, quote, "Oh, you didn't know? Ms. Mercer was a former prostitute prior to joining the Clark County District Attorney's Office," unquote. On October 25th of 2019, I sent an email to Zahara as follows. "Is that bullshit in your story, or was Mercer really a prostitute, and how did you confirm that?" Zahara responded, "One of our co-workers told me. True or not, I took the shot." Need I say any more about Mike Zahara's character and integrity? Apparently, that's the way Zahara vets and corroborates what he writes in his disgusting blog. On July 7th, 2019, Mike Zahara sent me an email in which he said that Judge Tobiasen was spreading stories around town about me that nobody was believing. I responded to Zahara in an email as follows. "So Tobiasen is spreading dirt on me. That's interesting because there is no dirt. Have no problem talking to anyone about anything. My entire life has been posted on social media, news articles going back 40 years, much posted by myself, so that doesn't bother me. What Tobiasen doesn't understand is that I neither love her or hate her. She went on the record with an investigative journalist. I wrote the story that she wanted to get out. I have the emails, and then she didn't like some of the content. That's too bad. Her story was the primer for others who contacted me and went on the record, and like it or not, they have the right to get their story out also. Tobiasen did many things right and many things wrong. Enough said.